Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5. We are here on YouTube for the weekly dose of...
Live at 5?
I was going to say magic, but what you've done
magic,
there is you've basically undermined the whole situation.
Well, I didn't realise you were going to say magic.
Well, you know, I was careful.
I've dived in.
You've dived in.
I've dived in.
You've dived in.
Fair play.
Like, probably some Everton player at training who keeps on getting all our players injured. But I don't know.
I mean, can I just clarify something before we start?
Clarify whatever you
want.
want.
I've seen people, and listen, they might have some justification in having a go at the medical team, but
yeah.
all I would say is the three big injuries we've got have all occurred in games.
Yeah.
So Dominic Calvert-Lewin's occurred at Brighton. Richarlison was the Tarkovsky challenge.
Yeah.
And
that was very
Decore was, I think, when he had the header and that went wide in the first half. That was when that occurred. So those three. Other stuff, yeah, you can have a go at the medical team, but just the big three.
Do you know what I tend not to do?
Games.
I tend not to have a go at medical staff. And I'll tell you why.
I'm not medical.
Because I'm not a fucking doctor, that's why.
No,
Do you know?
I mean, to be fair, it's something to live your life.
The things I can probably have a go with people for are, number one, driving, because I used to be a professional driver. And number two, running YouTube channels. And that's about my limit.
I'd have a go with like FIFA or something if you're not playing it properly. There's been a big kick-off, hasn't there, over FIFA?
Hang on. Let's just. I need to unpack something.
Yeah.
How do you not play FIFA properly?
Well, you know,
you've got one hand and the other one's going like that or something. I got one hand on my controller and the other one's.
Don't, because you know that you've seen a pad jack dance.
No, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't, whatever you do.
No, if you were playing two players.
Whatever you do, don't find the Chris Padgett video and share it online. Don't make it viral. Come on, people. Don't make that video viral. It's just not fair.
The actual, two-player game, you're not passing me off.
Okay.
I mean, you've made me just having to say, you know, if you were playing FIFA, you've made me, after digging, deep dive into just a throwaway
So what's
comment.
the FIFA... No,
just pass me the ball.
You can't throw around comments like that and expect me not to challenge them. Okay. So what's the controversy around the game formerly known as FIFA?
Apparently, first and foremost, have you heard this about FIFA? That it's the last year it's been called FIFA.
Yeah, I knew that days ago.
I know. I'm saying what
do you know why?
Because it's gonna just go free. No, it's because of the FIFA.
FIFA wanted £1 billion every 5 years.
Yeah. And what they're saying is, if you actually just pay for the FIFA Pro license, you can have access to 70,000 players anyway or something, which is what eFootball have done, and UFL football and Goals, which is one that's in the thing. They've all bought the FIFA Pro license so they can use the players.
But they can't go out the teams, so they're going to have to go individually to the teams.
I don't know.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how it actually develops.
It's going to be called EAFC, isn't it? Or
something
EA Football Club.
Yeah. I mean, games are changing, aren't they? They're we've got the
games are a changing.
No, but I mean, the way that, obviously PES has gone and we've moved to eFootball and things like that. And I think you'll get more of that with people. If the brand's strong enough, people just go, well, this is our brand, this is our game, and we're going to do this.
Yeah, of course. People, I mean, listen, people throw the word around FIFA and they know what you're talking about. But people would still call it FIFA. It'd just be called the EA.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Still call it PES.
The brand is, of course, the brand is within the name, but you still go, listen, if I had £1 for every time someone says, I went to boxing at the Echo Arena, I'd be a very rich man.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been called the Echo Arena. Marks and Spencer's must be absolutely going mad. They're like, we paid for that, and no one ever calls it.
The M&S Arena.
Well, it's the M&S Bank Arena, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Echo.
The Echo.
The Echo.
The Echo were
got in first.
Got in first. Got the name sorted. We can leave now.
Yeah, we're sorted.
You know.
Sorted forever.
So yeah, I mean, so it is changing. I hope games don't fundamentally change too much like that, like we're seeing. Because I do like a good game that is very long, and you know you're going to be playing it for hours. I mean, I was playing that Days Gone. Jesus Christ! I kept on thinking it was going to end, and it didn't. It was just like the next bit. I was playing it from May to August. It was when I
did think about that, but I've swear to.
Oh no, it's boss.
But
it's boss, lad.
Yeah, no, I think that the games are becoming films, aren't they? They're essentially films, aren't they? And I think they'll just get bigger.
Apparently that's our new tagline.
No. Not a chance.
I can't even say it.
No. Not a chance. Emmy1G says, could qualifying games between national teams that do not qualify for European Championships, etc., take place at the same time as the tournament? Akin to pre-qualifiers to whittle down the number of teams for the main qualifying groups as a way to reduce international matches.
Like a Jag World Cup?
Possibly.
Like an Aldi World Cup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't
There's
know.
a lot.
There's got to be. They've got to come up with a way to reduce.
I'm going to solve it all right now. So FIFA,
concrete football,
not concrete football, and it's not Commonwealth Games football either. So FIFA are scratching around for all these different solutions. So they're saying World Cup every 2 years. Now they're saying we'll have a World Cup every 2 years, but none of the same teams are going to be in either World Cup. So how do you split them?
What's the
point?
Do
you say one's going to be the crap World Cup, one's going to be the good World Cup, or you're going to say whoever doesn't qualify for the first one will? So what if? So the last World Cup, Italy never qualified for. So if they never qualified for the next one, or England didn't, or whoever, does that mean they never feature in the World Cup with the big teams who do qualify for it? Because that's what you're saying. What you're saying?
Nonsense.
No, exactly. That's what you're saying. You're saying is, if you're not going to do 2 in a row, then what?
Why can't you just do away with the?
Dead simple. Like the World Cup is supposed to be. I like the European Championships though. I like them. I like them.
So then it has to stay as it is.
I wanted to stay. This was what I'm saying. No, World Cup every 4 years.
So how do you reduce the games?
What you do is, right, dead simple. No,
while you're on one, I'm going to have a Jeff.
Dead simple. So you only allow a certain amount of teams in the group, right? So that's less games. And how you define that is what you've just said. You have a predetermined team. Now those teams could go in could be put forward by UEFA based on the Nations League. So you've got all the teams playing each other who aren't that good. Let's get it right. San Marino and Andorra don't deserve to be in those groups. Both of them. No. One of them maybe, but both of them don't. So let's have a way of reducing it, because, and this is what it comes down to, if there's 2 less teams in a group, or 1 less team, that's 2 less fixtures.
Yeah.
That could mean there's not going to be a thing in a couple of weeks. There's not going to be an international break.
Thank God there is.
So, but straight away you've already got rid of 1 international week. That means that you can get rid of one of the midweek games, which means that Everton would play Saturday, then Saturday, and not have a gap and then play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. And straight away, just by doing that one thing, by getting rid of 1 team, you've got rid of 1 international break. Now,
what's the point of the Nations League?
So there's no friendlies.
Right, so just scrap friendlies.
But they have scrapped friendlies to put the Nations League in.
Well, that's what I mean. So you've scrapped one thing to put this other thing in. What's the point of it?
No, I know, because UEFA...
So if you win the Nations League, you'd automatically qualify for something.
Yeah, in a way. It's convoluted.
It's nonsense.
It's convoluted.
You just need to scrap friendlies.
But the point being is, what they need to do is just have a simpler qualifying situation. And what that means is that these lesser teams should have a pre-qualifying like we do for the FA Cup.
I think that's what Emmy's saying, that those teams, so the European Championships, it's how you work it though. Because what happens is the European Championships are on. The
what
finals,
if you have this?
Right, the finals.
Okay, what about this?
But then when that finishes, you start World Cup qualifying.
What about this?
Doesn't it?
What about this?
So while the Euros are, and I'm just thinking, I think this is what they mean. While the Euros are on, those lesser teams could play in their own tournament to get into the qualifying.
What about this? Right, and people might say this is whatever, but what if the teams that finish in the quarterfinals or the semi-finals of the World Cup automatically qualify for the next World Cup and don't have to qualify? And the same with the Euros. Because let's be honest, right?
You're rewarded.
Those 4 teams who get through to the semis are going to get there anyway. They're going to moonwalk there.
That should be the reward.
They're going to moonwalk.
You get through to the semi-final of the World Cup, then that should be your reward.
But then the problem with that is that you're still going to have international weekends, aren't you? So it's what the problem is that FIFA have come out and FIFA want money, don't they? They want money. I don't know where Ned. I don't know where
you're talking. They're still talking.
I don't know where you're going, Ned. Yeah. Ned's currently on the floor.
Nice one, but they're still talking.
I don't know. I don't know how. There has to be a change, but the problem is FIFA want money. Because what they're looking at is going, well, we only get money from World Cups. Whereas UEFA have got the Champions League.
Scrap the Euros then.
But UEFA will take man.
Have a World Cup every 2 years.
Not a chance on earth.
I'm saying.
Because UEFA won't. No, but the point being is that UEFA will turn around to the Champions League clubs and just go, if you scrap that, you won't have as much money. Now, it might benefit the 12. It's a mess. Anyway. It's a mess. The whole thing's a mess. We have to simplify it. That's what we need to do. But by simplifying, they're overcomplicating it. Simple fact is, if you get rid of the Euros, you're also getting rid of the African nations and the Copper, and that ain't going to happen. You aren't going to get rid of individual, because some African countries will turn around and go, this is the only tournament we'll be playing.
No, I know.
South American teams will go, this is the only tournament we'll be playing.
Well, they can play in the World Cup qualifiers as well.
But they don't get to the final.
No,
the finals.
No, but I'm saying, I'm just looking away. The issue isn't necessarily the tournaments. We're talking about the amount of games.
No.
Right? So, I've always thought, but this wouldn't work, but I always thought, how about having a 4-week period, right? Whereas you play like 6 qualifiers or 8 qualifiers. But I don't know how you would do it, because I don't know where you'd do it. Would you do it before the season starts? Would you do it at the end of the season? Would you do it in the middle of the season? So everyone breaks for a month and the international teams go off and play. So some players are getting 4 weeks rest and others aren't getting any rest. So I don't know how you come up with it, because we have to find a way that there isn't, like you just said, there's less games. I could be taking teams out. Or do away with all the qualifiers.
Yeah.
And say, like, the World Cup has got 170 teams in it or whatever, who puts a team forward. They're seeded from that to that, but it just means that all of those teams are qualified and without having to do anything. And the others would have to play in some giant knockout stage. Yeah,
and then the England manager turns around and goes, well, how can we have a decent team if we haven't played all year together? So it's a mad task.
It's a mess. Mark Stringfellow says, should Tosun be given a chance?
Chance of what? Not fit, is he?
No, he's not fit. He's only just started training, but when he's fit, would you give him a chance? I imagine he'll be on the bench until he goes. He wants to go, and Besiktas want to take him in January. And I think he will go in January. So, for him, if I was him, I'd be hoping to just stay fit till January and get me move. Because he ain't getting another contract at Everton. So,
Gareth Hughes says, this one page in first comment, sadly, that's the best thing that's happened this week. What, Gareth? Life's what you make of it. Gary Wood says, Hardy.
Josh, let's make it rock.
Josh Nearkin says, evening lads, am I right that come January we are not restricted financially and can sign some players? Yeah, I think we can sign. I think we can get involved, can't we? I don't think we can go out there and spend 40 million on someone, but I think we can get involved.
But put it this way, we're in a better position than we were in the summer. So that's all.
We could elaborate on it, but it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Actually, we can't elaborate on it. Dan Osborne says, right, lads, seen your red mate Paul and IKEA yesterday, looked like he'd rather be anywhere else than there. Where do you expect to be in the league around Christmas time with these injury, lack of depth issues in the squad? I mean, what you've done there is you've put two things together that have nothing to do with each other, and it's very interesting. Fine. Where do you expect to be around Christmas?
In the top 10.
Yeah, I expect us to be in the top 10.
In the top 10. But what I'm hoping to do, what I'm hoping we can do, is cling on to the European places. Yeah. So if
no gap.
3 or 4 points, whatever, try to stay as close to them.
Oh, thanks, Bass.
Not just make this another box there.
Thanks, Bass.
I've got 3.
Thanks, Bass. Just leave one for me.
Yeah, that's what I would.
And I haven't got a drink to put in either.
That's because we wish Paul was still in IKEA. Yeah, try to maintain, be on the coattails of the teams going for Europe. Just try to stay in touch with them, because then if we can get Dominic Calvert-Lewin back after Christmas and we can get the core up and running and we can bring in a couple in the January transfer window, you're ready then for that second half of the season. We did it, we talked about this last year, didn't we? Yeah. Even when we were going through that bad spell in November, we talked about just trying to stay close.
You put that out, Ned? Yeah. Everton have just released a statement that says Dominic Calvert-Lewin has suffered a setback in his rehabilitation from the quad injury and will remain out for a number of weeks. Everton strikers not play, blah, blah, blah. He will continue to receive specialist treatment and we'll update the England international's fitness will be provided in due course. There you go. So basically,
at least they've addressed the situation.
It's gutting because I wanted him to get 20 plus goals in the Premier League this season because he's been getting more and more every season.
Well, he's got a big excuse now, hasn't he?
He's injured and off. I'll be out for a while. We said it last year and we got on a great run, ended up second at Christmas. But what we were hoping for was to be in touch with the European teams. And we very much were. And we very much were till the last 10 days of the season. So what we have to do is try to do that again. We have to find a way now, without the Corey, find a way to nick games, get wins, and then stay on, like I said, stay in the battle with those teams. And if we do that, we can set ourselves up for a better second half of the season with hopefully a stronger squad. Yeah. So top 10.
Stay in touch. Dan Parry says Iwobi reminds me of Barkley with different attributes and skills, of course. Both haven't got a football brain. I think Ross Barkley's about 8 million times better than Iwobi. Literally 8 million times.
He is better.
Because what Barkley could do at the very least was drag you up the pitch and
keep hold of the ball.
And then if you give the ball away, then all right. But Iwobi doesn't even get you up the pitch. He just goes.
And Ross would always weigh in with goals. Iwobi scored 2 goals in 64 Premier League appearances.
Townsend's numbers are better than Iwobi's.
Because Iwobi's got 2 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League since he signed. Townsend's got 5 goals and 4 assists already or something. So it's a bit sad. Alex he's got to start producing. Like you say, Men in Black and all that, but he's got to start producing at some stage. At some stage, even poor players score goals and create chances. You look down the league and you see lads at Burnley who you wouldn't have, but they get like.
You find a level of consistency. Yeah. It might be the level of consistency you want, but you find the level of consistency. He just doesn't find any.
He done it. I said to you the other day. It summed him up after 3 or 4 minutes. He got the ball below me. He danced around someone like they weren't there. He got into space. We were breaking, and he gave the ball straight to Declan Rice. And there was 3 Everton players on where it was a simple pass, and he hit it. Tried that cross field with his heel, and Rice just went, "Yeah, try mate." And they were on the attack. Frustrating.
Gareth Hughes says, sadly, I agree with a lot. Has been has been said about the atmosphere and lack of excitement at the going of the game. However, seeing the excitement of my 8-year-old every game as we approach the ground still makes it special for me. If it wasn't for him, I generally think it would be a chore some weeks, and that's sad. The last boss atmosphere was has to be Dunk's managerial debut versus Chelsea. Was bouncing that day. We need to get back on that a regular basis, and safe standing singing sections would be a start. In the park and in the Bullens corner, right by the away fans is where I'd put it. They would be able to react to every away chant, and the rest of the ground would get dragged along. Well, that's the point, isn't it, Gareth? The point is that if we did have a rail seating area and you put lads in there who really wanted to get involved, which we know some do, that gets it going. And I think once songs get going at Goodison, everyone else joins in. It's that initial bit of like getting it going. That is always the problem. You know, it's like people just sit on their hands, and fine, that's no problem. I'm not here to slag anyone off who goes to match. He just wants to sit there.
Do you stand up and sing?
I do once it gets going, yeah.
Yeah, but you start it.
No, of course I don't.
So people
well known. No, but I'm not going to make myself even worse. No, but that's what I'm saying. I can't sit here going, oh, it's the atmosphere's terrible. How can I say that if I'm not someone who stands up? I don't understand anyone who says that. Point being,
do something about it.
Do something about it, and that can be. And we done something the other day on Live at 5 on our Patreon, and we had on Monday really we did like 25 minutes on this. People have to help people get things done. We've put a video up this week with Jazz from the Fans Forum. And it's funny because I don't think as many people will watch that kind of video. But it's important that people do watch that video to understand what those people do, whether you like it or not. We have to start backing these people and not just going, there's nothing we can do about it. We can genuinely do things about it. We're the fans. And I want answers. I want someone at the club to come out and go, we're not putting rail seating in. Well, why aren't we putting rail seating? I want to know why we're not putting rail seating.
Money.
I want to know why. Why aren't we why aren't we taking a section out? If they say we can't do it because of the height of the stand, blah blah blah, we can't do blah blah blah. It's all right, fair enough. But I haven't heard anyone come out and say why. In 3 months, rails seating and standing at games will be legal, right? It will be legal. So why not provide a place where people can sing? Standing in normal seats won't be legal.
No.
But standing with rail seating is legal. So why aren't we offering it to a section to fans to do that, to create an atmosphere? There'll be loads of people who'll tell me why we can't do it. I don't believe in that. I always believe you can do something if you really want to. That's up to the football club now. The atmospheres are crap, and I know they're crap, and we all know they're crap. We know that when we score a goal, it gets going a little bit. But there's a lot of people out there who'll say to you, well, the atmosphere should come before and should help the club, help the team on the pitch. Let's help provide that then. I'm just sick of this thing of like, the atmosphere's terrible today. Everyone's a knobhead. Well, you were at the game. You know, you were there. I can't say to anybody about atmosphere because I'm not going to stand up and start singing because that's... I had to explain this last week to Astro, obviously an American and very loud American. I said, it's just, as English people or British people, it's just not in our nature.
No.
We're just not like that. We're not like that. But, you know, if you can get a group of lads together who want to do that, then we need to find a way. And I don't care if we're moving in Bramley more than 2.5 years or whatever. We need to find a way to do that. RCO2 says if Calvert-Lewin was to go, no, not even answering that question, RCO2. I'm not interested in hearing about Calvert-Lewin leaving. Brian Garth...
Hang on, just stop. If Calvert-Lewin was to go, where?
Exactly.
Where? Because please do not throw that nonsense Newcastle link out today. Someone messaged me going, it started, Newcastle have bid for Calvert. You know, it's just nonsense. Please just pack it in.
Brian Garza says no international breaks. When do we get our players fit? That's a good point. Carl says I might be in the minority here, but the games I look forward to and love the most are the games which feature the anomalies of world football. I find it watching the same players I see week in and week out boring. My dream World Cup final would be Iran versus North Korea. I mean, if you want that to be your dream World Cup final, just go to North Korea because they have that World Cup final every 4 years in North Korea.
Yeah, they've won. How many have they won? 5?
No, they've won loads. Paddy Ditchfield says, like the vid with Ped discussing the best Premier League players, he's a name that never gets mentioned, but longevity, impact on team and consistency never gets mentioned. But surely Jamie Vardy actually ticks all those boxes. And if you played to Manchester United or Chelsea, would probably be mentioned in the conversation. Would he be mentioned in the conversation?
He's a good player.
He's a good player. Player we should have bought many moons ago.
Yeah.
Adam Conroy says, Gray and Barkley in the team might not be a bad idea, to be fair. Keith Powell says, people are either suicidal or extremely vicious at the Corey's injury. Please explain to the people on your Twitter feed, lads, that is not the end of the world. Saw enough potentially great player in Cole Palmer from Man City. 19-year-old, looks Foden-esque. Also, Davy Klassen enjoyed a great night in Amsterdam yesterday as Ajax played one of the best games for a long time. Neighbours are very happy. Kid called Anthony looks a star in the making.
Yeah,
keeps Neres on the bench, says something.
Anthony's fantastic. left-footed right winger, Brazilian. Brilliant. Yeah.
Big Tony.
Very, very good player.
Jake Thompson says, all right, lads, hope you're well. Do you think there has been a bigger disappointment? Who's been a bigger disappointment for signing for Everton? Iwobi or Van der Meijden?
Iwobi.
Interesting.
Bigger disappointments. Well, mind you, to be fair,
Who did you have higher hopes for?
I was made up when we got Van der Meijden because he was fantastic and he really wasn't fantastic for us. So yeah, maybe Van der Meijden. But Iwobi has been hugely disappointing. Yes. Because there's been no level of consistency. Yeah. When we got him, I didn't think he was amazing, but I thought his numbers were good. I thought he'd travel with the ball well, and we'd lost Ross Barkley, who did do that for us, so it was like, we're going to get someone who can run with that. He just doesn't do one or the other. And a player who has undoubted ability like he does have, he's obviously a good footballer, isn't he? Why don't we see it? Why aren't we seeing him scoring goals? Why aren't we seeing him putting in some kind of performances?
A lot gets talked about numbers, stats, all the rest of it. You look at his numbers for Everton, they're dreadful. He doesn't contribute.
Yeah.
He doesn't contribute anything.
Not really, not.
His basic stats. So you're talking like goals and
assists. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, some games he does create opportunities, but that, to me, that's not enough, because you've got to, when you're trying to force your way into a team and put your roots down, you've got to make a difference. You've got to make a difference, and that is goals or level of performance. So people go, you know what, played really well today, or like Damari Gray at the weekend. And he wasn't great. But he created a couple of really good chances with crosses. And every time he got it, you thought something might happen. When he picks the ball up, you kind of lean forward in your seat because you think he's going to create something here. Iwobi doesn't do that. Iwobi picks it up and you're like, don't give the ball away. Is my first thought. Because we're going up the pitch. You give it away, we get sprung. Gray gets it. That doesn't cross my mind. Don't give the ball away. Or Townsend. Neither of that crosses my mind. It's like what can they create? But Iwobi's gone into that thing of, at least like you mentioned before with Barkley, at least Ross Barkley would get the ball and he'd have the strength to hold people off and he'd drive forward. And yeah, there was a lot of times there was a simple pass on and he didn't make it. But he'd also get shots in and he'd weigh in with goals. And he would create goals for people. Iwobi's just not even doing that. And that's where the frustration comes from, I think.
He's bang average. Just massively bang average.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He doesn't do anything. You only have to look at Gray, to what Gray's done since he come at Everton. He's always a threat. He keeps you on the edge of your seat when he picks up the ball. You think something's going to come of it.
Yeah.
And Iwobi just doesn't do that. He's just bang average. And I'll be honest, the quicker Everton could get rid of him, the better. I know that's easier said than done, but he's just a very bang average player.
I love this one.
Go on.
Mike Gledhill. How come Baz always has a little dig at Carlo? He got us a win at Anfield. You sound bitter. Not bitter at all. I'm absolutely made up he left, mate. Absolutely delighted he walked out the door. Great. He absolutely right. We won at Anfield. Brilliant. We had some good away wins with him. But it was literally the worst football I've seen since Walter Smith. It was dreadful. Not bitter at all. He's gone. And I'm happy he's gone. And Zuma was better than Mina for us. I mean,
no.
I don't know where to begin with that.
No,
I honestly don't
agree with that one.
No, not at all. Zuma was all right for about 6 weeks.
Second half season was
decent. He was decent, but Mina's miles better. Like miles better, but anyway, each see different things, don't they? Each see different things. Maybe bowling or something might be a better thing.
Zuma?
Yeah. Or for people who don't understand footy. Where are we here? Delamere says, when Newcastle come in for Rafa, Everton are going to get dropped worse. I mean, that's nonsense as well.
Hang on.
It's nonsense.
If Newcastle are supposed to be a club that with all this money, then they're gonna go. They're gonna come in. They're gonna get a manager in the next couple of weeks, aren't they? Someone who's out of a job, clearly, and then that person will try and do better with what they've got. Bring a couple of players in January, and then maybe get another year out of it. And then if that's when they're supposed to have all the money, and they've established that, then why wouldn't they be going for a Klopp?
I was going to say it.
Or why wouldn't they go to Pep Guardiola and say, you know what, I know you've had your time at Newcastle now, and I know you might have at City, and you might need a year off. You fancy coming to Newcastle afterwards and being our new manager and taking over this project? Why do people think they'll... Like, I could understand them if they'd come for Benitez now or tried to get Benitez now. Because of it's not that far from what he had and the players are quite similar and all that kind of thing. But why in 2 years' time when you will have... why aren't you going after the Bayern Munich manager? Or why aren't you going after Pochettino?
I think if I was a Newcastle fan, you don't understand them, like, let's test the water with Benitez right now. But he's 61. I'd be thinking, well, we want to, if they truly do want to be Man City, and we all do, don't we? We all want to be a team that's at the top of the league, winning stuff. Then I imagine you'd be thinking of, a European manager, like you're saying. Yeah. Someone who can really get you there and keep you there for a good few years. So I think in the summer, Everton wouldn't have, if it would have been Everton Newcastle in the summer, Benitez would have gone to Newcastle. If this would have been the summer with the money and all that. But now, to me, it doesn't make sense really for them. They've tested the water. He's already said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not breaking the contract. He's back at home on Merseyside. He's not asked about going to Newcastle, I don't think. And he's been told he's got money here. So Newcastle are 2 or 3 years at least away from being able to blow teams away with money anyway. It doesn't work. We've just seen the thing with the sponsorship thing. The reason why they're threatening everyone is because they know there's no viable way around it. If that comes in, that sponsorship rule, they're kind of knackered.
I get the whole thing of like,
they will have power in a few years.
They will have money, of course.
Definitely,
and I don't think anyone's going to deny that.
No,
but I just don't understand why you'd be asked about Rafa Benitez.
No, there's managers on the way up, I think. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Whether you could get Nagelsmann, I don't know. But what you're doing is you're looking for people. It's like, I think Gerrard is someone who might go there.
Yeah.
A manager on his way up, give him a lot of money. Don't forget that, like, McParland's there, isn't he? Who is big Liverpool connections. He's up there in with Mander Stavely. There's a lot of Liverpool connections in and around the club. Therefore, Gerrard, I think, name will be on the list for them. Someone like that who's young and up and coming, who they can put in and think we can have him for 4 or 5 years. You might even go and get like someone like Simeone. Yeah. Big money. There you go. But they've got to stay in the Premier League first, and then you can go and sell him the project with the money, and that's how you do it. And he's a lot younger than Rafa Benitez, so I don't think for longevity and for moving him on. I understand, like you just said, if they could get him now, then yeah. But I think once they move past that, why would it be Rafa Benitez? I just don't see it. I don't see it, but we'll see.
Josh says, do we expect to still beat Watford this week, even with all the injuries?
Yeah.
I think if Richarlison's back and we can, get the midfield sorted in terms of, I think it'll have to change the midfield, how it's made up, because no one can replace the core. But goals, in it. Ultimately, can we score goals? I still think we can. We have to. It's a game where we need a quick reaction from the week. Disappointing, obviously, the core, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, news getting confirmed. We have to just get out there and roll our sleeves up and make sure we get something. Make sure we get the 3 points. Bungie Boy says, do you think these injuries are down to bad luck, or is there something contributing, like training conditioning factors?
What injuries?
Well, I don't think conditioning, breaking your toe, I don't think, was he not drinking enough milk?
Like I just said, the 3 injuries we've got now to our 3 key players are all done in a match. Dominic Calvert-Lewin done his quad in because he was playing with a broken toe. So therefore you're compensating, aren't you? You're trying to protect one thing off the other so it can happen. And whether they probably just weren't able to get the load into his legs through training because he was only doing bits and pieces. And then when you're playing in the Premier League, that workload isn't in your muscles. So we've had a problem with that. The Richarlison was a stupid challenge by Tarkowski, which the referee should have sent him off for, or certainly booked him. And the Corey was an impact challenge. So I don't really know what other stuff you can do to prevent an impact challenge. Someone goes into a tackle with you and maybe wear like better boots or something. You know, I don't know, but impact stuff and matches you can't really plan for.
No, you can't.
You're getting like pulls in training all the time, and maybe, yeah, but these aren't those things. These are different.
I think the problem is it's how you manage them. The Dominic Calvert-Lewin one, clearly they're trying to find a solution without surgery, because surgery then becomes a minimum. Becomes a minimum because you have to get in there and you have to let the person heal. We have had this problem before. You will always get that thing of people. Maybe the medical team is saying, just get the surgery done. It's done then. And then the people. We were watching the final documentary. It's dead interesting. It's on Disney Plus. When players are injured, the medical team have to come at it like the doctors. They're coming at it like, you're sick. You must rest. The manager and the coaches are like, can you play? So it's like that thing of, can you go to work sick? I don't want to, but I can. Going to work then, aren't you? And then it's like, to the player, what do you want to do? Well, the player's wants to do his job, feels the pressure of the manager. And that's the medical team at Everton might be like that now about Dom. Just get it done, surgery. It'll be done then. It's fixed. And Everton will be like, well, yeah, but he ain't back then for 3 months. Is there another way? Yeah, but then it becomes a wait and see. This is what happened with Gbamin. Gbamin, they were like, we'll wait and see. And then the wait and see happened. And it was like, he needs surgery. And then everyone goes, well, why didn't you just do that? What if he hadn't needed surgery? Then we would have got him back half the less time. And that is probably that's the biggest problem, I think.
And then the problem was then the scar tissue once he'd had the surgery.
Yeah.
He come back and he was training, but he had the pain because of the scar tissue. So it was only when the scar tissue was removed and that settled down that his quad was fine. And
don't forget, stuff like this can really, the physios at Everton told Roberto Martinez not to play James McCarthy in a game. He said, "No, I got a degree at Trump University in physio, and I'm playing him." What happens after 20 minutes? He breaks down, and he's never, ever, ever the same player.
He never recovered.
Ever again. He never recovered.
Never.
He said, "Don't play him." And what happened? The coach, the physio, left Everton because of it. Because he was like, "That's what happens." And that's the problem. They will always butt heads. They come from completely different angles. One is trying to look after the player to make sure he comes back in good health. The others just want him to play football.
But you're always coming from your own angle. You always will. Delamere Bear says Everton wasted money trying to do Chelsea and City, but now Newcastle will blow us out the water. Everton didn't waste the money trying to do Newcastle, City and Chelsea because we weren't allowed to. If Everton were allowed to do what City and Chelsea had done, Everton would have
not being funny, but the calibre of player we brought in was definitely not doing Chelsea or
because we couldn't. If we had open checkbook, we'd have spent a hell of a lot more money.
What we did is we overpaid.
That was the problem.
For just very average players. That's what our big mistake is, not having someone negotiating the deals that understood the player. So we went in, was like, yeah, we'll have him. And I know, listen, we all jumped in on it, didn't we? We all loved it at the time. But it was like, oh, we'll pay 30 million for him, They didn't seem to be an adult in the room.
The problem is when you're going with Newcastle or blow us out the water, you're not understanding the rules. The rules don't allow it to happen again. This is the problem. People can't see. People just see Newcastle with these billionaire owners, which is correct, absolutely correct. And they've got access to funds. But if you can't spend the money, you can't do the job. They can spend, what was it, 177 million, I think it is. And then they engage problems because their turnover is what Everton's is, despite having 13,000 more fans, 14,000 more fans in the stadium. The wage bill is 82%, which is too high. So they have to reduce that with their income. So straight away, They could spend that 170 million and get it spot on, and then they might be up challenging for Europe, but they ain't blowing Man City out the water for players until they get sustained period.
But also,
and spending the money.
If that's what they're doing, then they're going to blow everybody out the water.
Yeah.
So it's not like
just Everton. Seems like Liverpool should be terrified then, because if Newcastle are allowed to spend their money, they're on a different stratosphere to Liverpool.
They've also
and
created
and
this really interesting. They've also created this interesting thing because by coming out and saying, people saying they've got 320 billion and all this, they've created their own thing of like people. That on one side will put everyone's price up, but on the other side, it does create that excitement of like if you're trying to get the first couple through the door. And listen, if they have actually got that money, then yes, they probably will try and do what City did, which is go to the clubs around you and buy their players. So City obviously went to Arsenal and bought 3 or 4 of their players.
You know, it's still easier to do.
No, I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is they'll be not. They will come and knock on the door of clubs around them and try to buy their best players. It's sort of what we tried to do, but we got it wrong. We paid too much. And the best players, we were buying the best players from the teams that were way lower than us rather than the teams where City went to Arsenal, knocked on the door and was like, have him. And it built them up. But if they came calling, they came to Everton and said, we do want Dominic Calvert-Lewin, then everyone can just go, yeah, that's 150 million, please.
Off you go. If they want to pay it, good luck to them. Good luck to them. I think Calvert-Lewin had laughed them out the universe, to be honest. But that's life. He mightn't laugh them out the universe in 3 years. If they're in Europe and they've got money, then he might be going, yeah, I'm on my way by. Right now, and for a while, they struggle to get decent players.
Well, they've got to build it up, haven't they?
But so you've got to build it. That's not saying they can't get there. If they've got money and they can find ways to spend it, then of course you will. Why wouldn't you? You'd expect everybody to be able to do that. But if like I said before, if the rules are relaxed to the point where Newcastle can buy what they want, then the rules are relaxed where Everton can buy what they want. And Everton have got a very rich person in the shadows, very rich, the 3rd richest or the 4th richest in the Premier League. So Wolves have got money. Billionaires own them. Aston Villa have got money and billionaires own them. And the reason why none of these people can do it is because the rules simply don't allow it.
And when I'm not saying this is the guarantee for us, but obviously when we move into Bramley Moore,
it'll make things easier.
They make things easier because you've got something that makes money not only on a match day but all week and in the summer with
There's just 2 sides to it. If Newcastle can circumnavigate the rules so they can spend the money, then yes, they will blow most teams out. I wouldn't even be putting Everton in that because they'd be blowing Chelsea and they'd be blowing Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham. Have got no chance. They're done if it's like that. Yeah, but it means that, like I've just said, a few other clubs have then got huge amounts of money to spend. If they can get round the rules, and this new rule that has come in last night means that they can't get shared sponsorship for 100 million, which they thought they could, then it's very difficult for them. Villa have spent 311 million in 2 seasons and are 14th or 13th in the league. Everton spent stupid amounts of money and have been mid-table. It doesn't guarantee anything. So that's why if Newcastle are clever with it, they'll build the structure, get the right people in place and build it over a few seasons, and then they'll be in a much healthier position to really...
The problem is with the Premier League as well is when people were spending this money when they first came in, there was room for those clubs to all fit into the Champions League spaces, and then you had the couple of extras, and then so what's happened now is, if Newcastle go big, and they might go big, and I know if they do, fair play to them, but they're going to push someone's nose out of joint. You've already seen it now. Arsenal didn't qualify for Europe, right? Tottenham did just. Then you've got a Leicester. Leicester are going to try and build up their stadium and they're obviously investing. So they've got people with a little bit of money. And what you're going to start finding is, and this is where it's going to get really, really difficult and complicated, and this is what might push that Super League again push it through, is some of those teams are not going to qualify for Europe. So if Newcastle jump in and go big, then that means you're going to have at least 2 teams who are supposed to get in Europe, whatever that means. not getting in Europe. So there's going to be, and then there'll be a pushback. Of course there'll be pushback. And all these traditional clubs, or you know, all these traditional clubs of the last 15 years who are qualifying for Champions League, suddenly they're not going to be, and then that's when you're going to get those people go, we do want to go and do our own thing, and it's going to get football in the next 15 years is going to get so much. We've spoke about FIFA, UEFA, the national sides, big clubs it's going to get. I think in the next 5 to 10 years it's going to change dramatically to a point where it's going to be a lot of people who support clubs like Everton are going to, or whoever, going to be like, I don't know why I'm bothering. I don't know why I'm bothering going, or I don't know why I'm following this team, or maybe not Everton, but maybe.
I wonder what Newcastle do when. Will they just be quite happy for to just be in the Premier League as a nothing club? Because when the Super Six...
Well, you'd have to ask that question, don't you?
No, because they're going, aren't they?
No.
The Super Six, the Scabby Six, the Traitor Six, they're going in the Super League. It's back. They're making the soft play for it now, so they're in there. So Newcastle are just going to be like us and Villa.
Well, they might start another Super League.
But them owners will be like, what, we're playing in this league, that we want to be in that big shiny thing. So are they going to sell off them? But then
suddenly you'll get someone going, well, hang on, they're owned by a Middle Eastern team, and all the fans in the Middle East are going to get behind them. I don't know whether that's true or not. And then you go, well, oh my God. So then you go, well, they're owned by Americans. We need them in the Super League to attract the American fans. We need them because they're owned by Middle Eastern. Or they're owned by Far Eastern. We need one of them. And suddenly, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to become it's going to become a very, very crowded market. In terms of like, and that's just the basic of every year we go trying to get in Europe this year. And that's where it's going to get so.
Just walk straight across, I don't worry. I'll just go straight. Just walk. It'll be 2 seconds to the cross. Go.
I mean, now you're hovering.
I've just said
there's literally a box underneath the thing.
There's 3 there. You can open them now. Just let me address this very quickly before you go on. Shrikar Kandala says some credible rumours coming out about Newcastle and Arsenal wanting Dom. Do you think he could be our team? There hasn't been one single credible rumour from anywhere other than kids on the internet writing nonsense stories. Or Arsenal fans photoshopping dominance. There hasn't been a single credible rumour because there isn't one. Because there's no credibility.
How can a rumour be credible?
And it can't be. There isn't. It's like us going to PSG now and going, we want Mbappe. That's the equivalent to me of Newcastle coming for Dom.
Why are people always terrified of losing players?
Oh, God knows. God knows.
How old's Dom?
24.
So he's got 5 years.
25 in
5 years, Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be gone anyway.
Yeah.
In one way or another. So,
yeah.
What difference does it make?
Yeah. You move on. We might have another striker then who's miles better. That's the hope. Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Might be sitting on Newcastle's bench. Because they've bought him and then he went and bought 2 of the other greatest players in the world.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's that thing of like, you know, if they think they're gonna, if they think they're as good as the Haaland will be playing up front and Dom will be twiddling his thumbs on the bench.
Yeah.
You know.
It is all a bit.
Mike Barrett says he made the mistake of looking at the comments on Baz's ha tweet. A lot of fans are idiots, even the Newcastle fans on the thread were more level-headed. What's that about? What was your...
Oh, someone sent me the thing saying Newcastle are coming for...
So where did that come from then?
The Telegraph or something, saying he's like on their thing.
So that's credible. Robert Lloyd says, do you lads agree if Rafa plays a Iwobi or Rondon against Watford, then he's definitely lost? Definitely lost, not just a plot, but no. We might have had any admiration we might have had for him. 99% of Everton fans can see these to a waste of space. No, because that's nonsense, Robbie. At the end of the day, if we haven't got another striker, then who plays if not Rondon? I don't understand who can... We need a centre-forward, right? Every team needs a centre-forward, apart from Man City, right? If you don't have one, then yeah, you're in trouble. But if you have got one, and he's the only one, you have to play him as far as I'm concerned. Because who plays instead of Rondon? Genuinely. I want Richarlison back, but if he's not fit to start, then he shouldn't start. Got to think of the big picture. Iwobi, do I really want him starting? No. Am I going to, decide that everything Rafa Benitez has done in his career or everything he's done at Everton so far is a waste of time just because he plays Iwobi? No. I do not agree with that at all. Go on, do it. I'm just a boss catcher. I'm just a boss catcher. Carl says the first signing I want to see before January is Mina given a new contract. Absolutely.
Interesting, the Mina.
Degsy, I hope you're all right, mate. He said he had a small stroke on Sunday morning, but he says he's fine, living the life. Hospital doing all the tests, at home resting, but nothing will keep me away on Saturday. Degs, look after yourself, mate. And don't go to the game Saturday if you're not feeling well. It's a game of footy. Not worth it.
Definitely not worth it. Look after yourself first and foremost, mate. That's the most important thing.
Fitness test, have a little stretch. Keith Powell says, what's happening with the COVID situation in England? I read it 17 times more cases a day than Spain and lockdown. Restrictions are coming back, Pambley. WTF is that? Boris has another plan. Them ped. Don't know, mate. Something getting said now. My missus is all over it, mate. She said it's terrible. In terms of hospitals, it's all deflection. People kicking off on GPs saying and all that kind of nonsense. Dead simple. It's not dead simple, of course, not dead simple. Get the basics back. Introduce the masks back. Start laying out to people. You've got to start wearing masks again. Washing your hands again. We jumped out of that far too quickly. Just basic stuff. Wear the masks. Basic. Paul Taylor says, Everton are still doing the good news before bad news stunts. I see the piling get stadium story released a few hours before Dominic Calvert-Lewin's getting a bit predictable now. Is it?
Everyone knew Dominic Calvert-Lewin's injured,
is it?
though.
I don't... Is it... Does
mate.
Does piling at Bramley Moore really make you feel better about Dom not being available? I just see Everton... I give Everton loads of grief when it comes to the media. But if they're keeping us up to date with the stadium, then that's sound. I expect them to. I expect them to keep us up to date with the plays as well, and they've done that. So
it's not really much they can do.
Two rights don't make a wrong, if that makes sense.
They're just keeping you up to date, but everyone's known he's been injured. Manager said the other day he was out for a while.
Yeah.
Didn't he? So, yeah. Steve Peace says the way everyone's saying Newcastle are the richest club in the world is untrue. They have the richest owners. It's a big difference. It's like saying Wolves are richer than United, and that's absolutely correct. It's like saying we're richer than United. And other teams, there's a few other teams with billionaires, because Man United, Glazers aren't worth the same money. It's whether or not people are putting that money in, isn't it? So, Damien says, I've been reading the Super League hasn't gone away and could be considered. Yeah, it will be considered. It's not going anywhere, mate. That's a real thing that's going to happen. The John says, any news on Ellis Sims not being on the bench? Injured, mate. Injured. So, don't know how long he'll be out for, but he was injured. So that's why he's not been on the bench for the last few games. David says, lads, the Super League is to replace the Champions League, not the Premier League. Yeah, but it's got to be accepted by the Premier League. The Premier League don't want teams going and playing off in another tournament. So, that's why. Michael Wood says, the Sly Six can make as much noise as they want. They'll be kicked out the Prem. Good riddance to them lot across the park. Can play a few more games in Oslo. I mean, I think a lot of Liverpool fans don't want to leave the Premier League. And I don't think they'd want to leave the Premier League to go in the Super League. The club, the owners do, quite clearly, which is why they're there. And you've got the pull, or rather, you've got the pressure from Real Madrid and Barcelona wanting the money.
Of course, because they're skint.
So, it's one of those things, isn't it? True Blue Water says, lads, Rafa can only use the cards he has. Some aren't as good as some of the players on the injury list besides Delph, but I trust him to get the best out of the team he has. He's got to, hasn't he, really? Got to just see what's available to him and try to come up with a way to negate the fact that we've lost the core. Yeah. It's the only... I mean, that's his job to do it. And let's hope he can do it. It's tough, don't get me wrong. We haven't got anyone like Abdoulaye Doucouré in the squad. And that is a difficult thing to replace him. But you've got to come up with ways how you can. your throat, salt water, gargle with
That
salt
sounded
water.
like a lyric from Adele.
Got a
That Jaffa cake really hurt.
He'd write an album about that. How do says hello from a Liverpool fan. Hello, how do. Graham says, "Hi lads, will FFP still affect us in January if we want to bring players in? Have we any youth players that could make it?" I think we'll be in a better position in January. And it might just be that they bring a couple of loans in to get through to the summer. Unless they can get players in they want. But I think they'll definitely add a couple in January, definitely. Any youth players who could make it on Yango, I think is one who has got a chance because he's got this physics.
Certainly could be stepped up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Dobbin's
doing all right, isn't he? He's been on the bench and stuff. Scored the other night for the 23s. So after that, there's hit and misses. Like, you know, Lewis Warrington's had a lot of press, but I don't know whether he's.
I think we saw the level in summer with Charlie Whittaker.
Yeah, he's doing well, but he's nowhere near it, is he? Just very difficult. I've just saying to Ped before about Seb Haller, who went to West Ham, and Everton had looked at him, Frankfurt, and he'd done well. He comes to West Ham and he didn't really make that much of an impact at all, did he?
No.
You know, and he went off to Ajax in the summer and he's been brilliant.
Physically,
Ajax,
didn't look up to it, did he?
No, even though he's massive. He just wasn't quick enough. And yet he tore Dortmund apart last night in the Champions League, scored. He's been really good for Ajax. This league is just really difficult to play. And so when you're asking a lad to step out of the 23s and perform in the Premier League, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be physically able to cope. We've seen Anthony Gordon.
It did make me laugh though, seeing that kid for Man City last night though.
Oh, Cole Palmer. Well, they will have the best.
No, I know, just the way he skipped inside and bent one in, I just thought, jeez. There's another one.
Haven't they? They've got a few. Got the lap. Who's really
well, no, because they condition them to play a certain way.
And they get the best of the best.
Yeah. And they got probably the best coaches and got one of the best managers in the world.
So, but I think on Yango is one because of his stature. I think he's one who could certainly be involved. Obviously, Dobbin's quick and he's got a bit of strength about him, so that's why he's getting in. But it's a huge difference in standard from 23 football to the Premier League.
Yeah,
isn't it? You look at some players in the Premier League who people say, "Oh, he's garbage, him," and he's this, and yet you look at Anthony Gordon when he played in the 23s was worlds ahead of it. Tom Davies
straight away though he was
Tom Davies. If you watched him in the 23s, it was flip flops on. It was so easy for him, and yet people call him championship standard. So I think when we look at our young lads, we have got to give them a bit of time. I think there's a few like Elijah Campbell, Eli Campbell as they call him now, and Reece Welsh, who are two big lads who've got a chance if they fill out a little bit. So, yeah, have to see what happens. Charlie Whittaker's a nice footballer, but is he going to be quick enough and strong enough to play up front in the Premier League? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, that's where we're up to. Eugene says Rafa Benitez needs to pick some of the 23s from the squad. But we've just talked about it. Who is good enough in that? Who did you see in that under-23 game that stood out and you thought he can play in the Premier League? Let me know very quickly. Where are we? Mick thinks he can see us getting overrun in midfield without the core, eh?
Well, that's maybe why we have to put, maybe why Iwobi would go out the team, and you put Tom Davis in and one other, and that it could be, as you know, it could be Gabaman, but we have to wait to see what his levels are. Nothing suggests that he's ready. It could be Andre Gomez if he's available again, but we don't know. Maybe it's you say to Tom Davis just sit in the six. And have some, and that could be Iwobi himself playing in there.
There's no the simple thing is there's no like easy answer. There's no like he's out and he'll come in. and we'll be sound. Because there isn't. We're going to have to
There's
change
no one can replicate what the Corey does.
No.
But you are right in terms of like saying, you have to, we might get overrun, but then we might have to put an extra body in there, and it might have to be a 4-3-3 in that time period, because we simply don't have another Decore. We don't have someone else who's as mobile, who can got the engine like he has, and it might mean that we have to move another one in there alongside, because you look at Tom Davis and you just look at him and go, well, he ain't Decore's replace. He could replace Allen in a short term. We've seen that last season he had to, but Decore's a different thing, and we saw that when Decore went out. We're going to have to come up with something that works, and that might be, as I said, Andre Gomez going in there with Tom Davis or with Gbamin and making it go, well, we've got another one in there, we're not going to lose control of that area of the park, and then everything else has to like shift on then, and and that's difficult. The problem. This is where it's it's. I find it I just find it interesting when people just say, well, you should just do this or you should just do that. If players aren't in the same mould, then how, it's like saying, well, Rondon shouldn't play on Saturday, but then who started Rondon from playing Saturday?
A few people are saying Dobbin.
But Dobbin is a kid, right, who plays a lot of the time off the left-hand side. Yeah. So he's not the same thing. Listen, I'm not sitting here defending Rondon. His performance on Sunday was abysmal. It was abysmal in terms of movements, and you have to look at the player and say to him, this is what I want you to do to Rondon. You need to start pinning people back. Dobbin plays off the left, so straight away he doesn't, look at he scored the other night. His goal was off the left-hand side. Charlie Whittaker was playing through the centre, and he was playing off the left-hand side. So what do you do? Do you play? Are Everton good enough to play with a false nine? I don't think we're good enough to play with a false nine. Go back to the pre-season game at Man United. We got battered because every time the ball went up, it just came back.
There's no one there. Yeah.
And I think, listen, if Cenk Tosun was available, then people could go, well, maybe he could play up front. I mean, it's out of the frying pan. But people are just. I don't like this thing of people just going, just play him. It's the same thing with happened with Gordon last year, the year before. They'll be like, let's play Gordon. It's like, yeah, but do you know what'll happen, mate? He'll play 2 or 3 games and then you'll start having a go at him because he's not doing what you think and you're Eddie can do. And that's where football is that's where now it's like you have to take a step back and go, what can you do if you haven't got the players? You have to make adjustments. Do you know if we had someone like a Kale who could play in that, or a Fellaini who could just go up there and play and be experienced?
Rondon should be able to do it.
He should be able to. He should. And he hasn't. No. And I'd like nothing more if on Saturday at 2:00 I see Richarlison playing up front. I'd love nothing more. But I can't see it. I could see him being on the bench and coming off the bench and making a difference and then being ready for the next game. But we are in a situation, we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's being talked about with a big massive move going to Newcastle and blah, blah, blah. It's not available and isn't going to be available for a while. And then you've got Richarlison, our talisman, someone we've relied on for the last 2-3 years, someone the fans really love, not being available for 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it's been. Who can cope with that in other clubs? No, if suddenly you went to Tottenham, you've got no Kane, you've got no Son for 6 weeks, what would they do? Who's their next striker?
Have to be Moore. Oh, that's Troy Parrott, or is he gone?
So he's gone, hasn't he?
He's gone. So that's be...
What's his name?
Vinicius.
Is he still there?
I don't know whether he's gone back. He only come on loan to buy, didn't he?
What would
Spurs lost Son and Kane? Didn't be nothing.
Who would Villa play if they lost Ollie Watkins and Ings?
No, that Keane and Davis, who doesn't score goals.
What would Leicester do if they lost Vardy and who's their other? Iniacha. They played Daka. Right? They've got 3. It's fair enough. In Europe.
Yeah, but they still.
What would West Ham do if they didn't have Antonio?
I've said this.
This is what I'm saying. It's not these players and like Dobbins. They're still so far away.
He's a bit part, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's a bit part. We're trying to give him experience by bringing him on for 10 minutes and going, right, this is the Premier League. How many touches can you get? Can you get on the end of something in that time? I want to see Richarlison replacing Rondon, but I wouldn't be doing it this Saturday. Because Richarlison not fully fit, quite clearly. So, but if not by Wolves, I want to see him starting against Spurs.
So on our comments on Patreon there, Robert Floyd, you've just put a big thing there, mate. Fair enough. You've just said you'll walk out of Goodison if Iwobi and Rondon are playing. So who plays if Rondon doesn't play and Richarlison's not fit? Who plays up front for us? Because I don't see.
What I'd do if you got to say if you're walking out, just wait. The team's announced at 2, so don't go in till after 2. Because they probably both.
But
who
plays?
No, but they will probably both.
But who starts up front? If it's not Rondon, there's no Cenk Tosun.
You can't.
There's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
You can't put Richarlison in his first game back when it's. He should be on the. You've got to worry about the load on him. You rush him back and then he's out again. He breaks down. He's out. Everyone will kick off. They'll blame the medical team. They'll blame the manager. They won't go, oh, it was us because we were crying for him to come back. Got to make sure he's fit because we want him. We want to get him fit so that he stays fit in this period where we haven't got anyone else. So it'll be Rondon.
Do you know what I really wish we had?
Tranquility.
Someone like Paul. What was his name? Paul
Warrest.
Yeah. Remember he could play centre back and he can play up
yeah,
front.
Imagine
that. Imagine it's just like, oh yeah, Ben Godfrey's playing. No, Ben Godfrey sometimes in training he goes up front and we put him up front and you're like, oh my God, he's like Dom.
I think like Christine's saying, like Dobbin's got to be better than Rondon.
But why has he though?
No,
why?
But what I would say is that, like Pez just said, he's a different type of player. So he's not someone who's playing through the middle on his own as the 9. So you'd have to almost change the way we play. We'd have to try to get him in round the corner, which is fine. Might work.
Yeah.
But
he starts on the left, I get that.
He's not starting games. He's not. He didn't even get on at the weekend. We were 1-0
If he started
down.
on the left, right?
I'd have brought him on by the way.
All right, let's say he starts on the left, right? I'll give you that. And Rondon starts up front because you need like a centre forward. And Gray started on the right. And Townsend played in the middle. Then maybe I can go, I get that. Not like replacing the core, but having someone in there to carry the ball, yeah. Then, yeah, I could understand that. But Dobbin is 5 foot nothing, and you're saying to him, start a game and occupy. Yeah,
it's too big. They've got doors,
right? And don't get me wrong. Listen, you're playing on the counter attack. That's fine. But we're at home against the team we're supposed to beat. There will be loads of crosses. So you've got suddenly you've got Townsend or whatever on one side, and you're whipping balls into the box, and the centre backs are just going ping.
But he might, if they're low, he might be able to get
fair enough. But what I'm saying is that's
I'm not saying he couldn't do it.
That's a hell of a lot to ask from a kid that all we've seen so far is 5 minutes in a game. That's all we've seen.
We don't want to kill these kids too soon either. But I'd have put him on Sunday, I would, because we needed. I felt we needed something fresh, especially when it went 1-0 down. Why wouldn't you?
I'd have put Yerry Mina for the corner.
So it's not like we're saying that can't be done. I can't see him replacing an experienced number 9 with a kid who's hardly played any games. Maybe like later on I would.
I just think sometimes there's an expectation level of kids who are doing well in the under-23s that suddenly they're going to all burst into the first
Christine
team.
said, like, look at Parma last night. I know, but they're probably way ahead of our kids,
I get
those
that.
kind of players.
I get that. And that's why I've just brought it up. That young lad goes into a team.
That is a brilliant side.
And he comes into the team. It's the thing with Foden. They're playing every day with that team. They train every day. They're only going to get better.
But the team's amazing,
that's what I'm saying.
By the way.
And then he goes into that team and the team are making loads of chances for him and loads of runs. Suddenly you've got a young kid like Dobbin playing at Goodison with there's an expectation that you have to beat Watford. And the manager, what I'm saying is the manager, I'm sure, would know enough. He's got enough experience to understand sometimes when a player is ready for that game, is ready to go. We all thought Ellis Sims was going to be amazing because of his goal scoring record on the 23s and under. He had a better record than Mason Greenwood. Yet Mason Greenwood, they knew he had that level. He was at that level. And I just think sometimes do I want Rondon starting up for Everton? No, I don't. But I understand that he's got the experience. Listen, he was poor on Sunday. But at Old Trafford, I thought he did a lot better. That was the odd thing. He looked better against Man United. Do I want him starting up front for Everton? No. But would I take a kid who's not even a natural target man to play up front? I don't think I would at this stage. I get what people are saying. I get you want a lot of this. It's frustrating. I get that. But I just listen. If Dobbin was 6 foot and he was a natural centre
If it was
forward,
like Ellis Sims, then you'd go, all right, 6'1", played in the Championship, scored goals. Why not? You know, is he gonna be any worse than Rondon or whatever? But Ellis Sims ain't fit, and Dobbin's a different player. It's like people are saying, try Gordon through the middle. Well, Anthony Gordon has played through the middle for the 23s and was okay, but he's not back to goal, is he? So therefore, and that's fine if you're going to play a different way, but everything then's got to be on the floor because he's not going to win anything in the air because he doesn't jump. And he likes the ball ahead of him. Anthony Gordon could potentially play in the 10 because he travels with the ball. But as the back to goal, it's going to be Rondon, so I don't know why we're all like...
No, I understand why people don't want Rondon. I just
think it's
people
difficult.
I just don't like... I just find it strange that people create scenarios which...
I think people are just looking for ways out to get around it. Like EFC Graham says, I still think fans have the Rooney dream.
Yeah.
The kid comes in and sets the game alight, but he was a once-in-a-lifetime player. We knew with Wayne Rooney, he was a man at 16. He had the power. And
I think that's half the problem is that, yes, we think that people are going to come in and some more. And as you said before, Tom Davis flip-flops in the under-23s when he came to the first team.
Whenever you watched him, it was he waltzed past people.
He's been in the first team for what, 4 years?
150 odd games.
And people still sits on the bench. Still would never get anyone's first team, of course.
People don't like him.
People whatever. And that's half the battle.
If you watched them in the 23s, if he went back in the 23s now, because don't forget he is 23, so he could still qualify for it.
Yeah.
If he went back in the 23s, he would ghost through the game with ease. No one would get near him. Mm-hmm. And yet people are thinking there's players in that can play in our first team and be good. Lewis Dobbin could start on Saturday against Watford for Everton and do all right. Yeah. Run around and get touches and lay the ball off. Is he a difference maker? At the moment, I've not seen it. He looks like a really good prospect. He's been big on him for a while. I think he can develop and keep it going. Definitely gives me some hope. There's no question about that. There. But it's a big ask right now. Player. Whereas with 20 minutes to go, then get on. Show your freshness. These don't know anything about you. Let's see if we can get you in behind them. I totally get that. But I just feel like right now he'll continue with Rondon.
What it might have to be is just one more game with Rondon. And then Richarlison starts for the Wolves game. It might just have to be that. Gets back, comes on with 20 minutes to go or whatever, half an hour to go. Gets a bit more in his legs. Then he's got another week of training. Yeah. Then we're playing the Wolves on the Monday night, and he's back up front.
What's mad is he'll play against Wolves and Spurs, and then he'll go off with Brazil.
Yeah,
only.
And then I just think that. For me, we have to just hope that if Rondon starts on Saturday, you get a little bit more out of him. And that's it. I think that will be his last start while Richarlison's fit. And Everton might have to start looking, at ways of changing things around with no Dom and with no Decore. I just think it might have come a bit too early for this game to make those changes. I get why people are...
We're definitely, by the way, we're definitely not saying your ideas aren't very good. We're agreeing saying, we want to see Dobbin get on. We want to see our younger players coming through. I just think...
I want Tylon Yang on the bench.
Sometimes we have to look and go, the way the team's now got to set up, what's going to be the... Also, it's almost like the safest way to play it. Rondon, again, he's a sub. He was bought to be a 15, 20-minute man from the end of the game, right? So he's not impressed anybody so far. No one could sit in and go, oh no, he had a really good game. And he hasn't. I don't even think he was very good at Old Trafford. No,
we've gone from a situation from last season, where our third choice striker never got a sniff.
Yeah, and he would have been all right.
King. Yeah. So now having to rely on our third choice striker. That's the mad thing. Yeah. We've gone from Dom and Richarlison hardly missing a game to both of them being out.
And we haven't even got the lad who's got league football experience and scored goals. Yeah. We haven't even had him of it because he come back and then got injured again. So we've been cut down at the knees in the area where it's the difference maker.
Yeah.
It's the different. Everton could have played that very, very same game against West Ham on Sunday. Everything the same as the way the chances fell, the way West Ham had a lot of the ball, and we could have won the game 2-1.
And also,
because Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have been in the right place to have 2 tap-ins.
Also, I think against West Ham, Rondon was up against maybe a couple of fellas he felt like he was never going to
get any
change out of. Yeah. And maybe he might think he can get something out of the Watford centre-backs that he couldn't get out of them. For me, you got to make the game very simple for someone like that. You get it into him, he holds onto it, and you get it back, and he's the platform to start again. That's on him because he's got to start doing that job.
And he's got to pin
he's got
them
to move
back.
across the lines.
He's got to pin them back though, Pep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's got to be on the edge of there.
That's what I'm saying. You ask someone like Dobbin to do that job. He'll drop in and he'll go and look for the space, and then suddenly you find yourself having no centre forward.
And you've got
and then they're just creeping up, and that creates room for them.
It's up to him. He scored the other night. It's up to him to train well. If he trains well, who knows? Benitez might go, yeah. Glenn says, "Bars, the comments for your participation on the overlap are superb. You were a fantastic representative of the club. To be honest, you should have been on stage instead of Scholes, maybe next time." I was a let me just say this. I was a representative of myself. I don't represent anyone's opinions other than mine, just in case people go, "Oh, and all of that." That was just me as an Evertonian speaking and just my view. But thank you very much. It is appreciated. Blue Nose Dublin says the likelihood is we have to play 4-4-2 and give Dobbin or another youth striker a chance, in my opinion. It caused them more problems. Do we definitely have to play 4-4-2? I think you're more right with 4-3-3. Because I know we've had a chat about Iwobi, and this is not because we're pinning our hopes on Alex Iwobi. But the one thing Iwobi does do, probably a bit different than other people, is he runs with the ball. I think he does it great. So, but I don't know whether I think Gray's better wide.
I think, and I'm just going off what we've seen so far, is you can have a formation that changes between the two, but that means having certain players on the pitch. And again, that's where, like, say, if you had Tom Davis on the pitch, Iwobi, Allen, Townsend, Gray, Rondon, that can either be 4-3-3, 4-4-2,
or 4-2.
Or 4-4-1-1.
Or 4, yeah.
So that can be like three different things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you wanted to say it wasn't Iwobi and it was Gbamin, then you can't change that to 4-4-2. There's nowhere for Tom Davis.
If you did have like a Gbamin in there with the Davis, you've also got the insurance that people are in there, and you've got a midfielder in Gbamin who can maybe put his foot on the ball or break it up. But we don't know his levels.
We don't know because we don't know his levels.
Basics says the likes are shocking. Is it too much effort to click the like button? That's Basics' words, not mine. It should be the first thing you do because you're here having a conversation, but you know, we'd appreciate it if you do. Thank you. Stuart says, "Baz, why did they have Ty back?" And as that City fan finished talking. Ty's entertaining, isn't he? Whether you agree or you don't agree. He is. He's support. Well, he loves Arsenal, doesn't he? Let's leave it at that. He loves Arsenal. Sol says we have to remember though, Rondon has aged and played at a low quality. Mate. He's not the same player.
No, and I don't think he's the same player. I think he's dropped off massively. 2 years in China and Russia have done him no good at all. But it's not. See, this is what it's not about. I've said this, and I said this consistently last year. It's not always about what you've got. It's what you haven't got. And what we haven't got is another centre forward.
Yeah.
Maybe if Tosun was available on Saturday, then the manager would have an issue. He'd go, I could play Tosun. It's not a massive, great issue to have. If Richarlison is fit to start on Saturday, he'll start. That's the point. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin was available to start on Saturday,
of course,
he'd start.
Yeah.
Rondon, it's not. It's like if we didn't have another right back, John Joe Kenny would start at right back. You know what I mean? It's that's the way it is, isn't it? Yeah. That is the way it is. You know, when Pickford wasn't available, Begovic had to go and goal. None of us really liked it, but what else are you going to do? And
we are where we are, aren't we? We know as fans, we've probably got about 13 or 14 players who are really strong. Then we've got a few who you can get away with in ones. And then we've got a few who just aren't very good. And the problem is when you put 3 or 4 of those into the starting 11, it weakens it. Yeah. Like we've just gone through before. I'd suggest most teams at Liverpool are a absolutely I don't like saying it, but they're a fantastic football team. But if you took out Salah, Mane, and I don't know, Henderson or Van Dijk like last season, whatever, they're not the same football side.
What we've got to do,
and they're a brilliant team with a brilliant squad.
What we've got to do on Saturday is be professional and find a way.
Try and get the win, haven't we?
Find a way to get a win.
That's what it's about. It's winning is all it's about. And then then there's 9 days till the next one. So you're 9 days closer to the Corey coming back, and you're 9 days closer to Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back, and you're 9 days closer to getting, if he's not fit anyway, Gomez back, and people like Delph if you want, but at least he's a squad player, and you're getting all of those players up to speed, aren't you?
Aye.
But
Degsy mentions the 4-4-2 with Dobbin and Rondon. Ruben de Sousa says, don't worry about Rondon. I'll play up front, the best left-footed right winger in the world.
Exactly, Ruben is.
Yeah.
He is.
To be fair, that's right.
But what can you do?
Yeah.
Steve P says, the Men in Black thing is happening again. We all know, but Bobby gets yet another chance in his preferred position.
I know, mate.
He's not going to be great.
I know, mate.
What can we say? What can we do? He puts an Everton shirt on, and therefore I feel like we have to support him. And I hope that this is a lad that's played in the Premier League for 7 years. So at some stage, surely, I know. It's got to just be, like, he might just have
I'll be honest,
game.
I'll be honest. You know, on Saturday, I'd leave him on the bench.
Iwobi.
And have like, if you've got like him and Richarlison coming on in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're options, aren't they? What do you do with Gordon? Is there a way we play Gray in the 10? I don't think he's as effective there. Gordon on the left, and then you've got Davis and Alan.
Because again, though, I still don't think Gordon has done that much to justify a place.
No, I'm just asking.
At Old Trafford, he was great because he worked hard in a position tactically. But I haven't seen enough of him so far in an attacking sense. I haven't seen him getting, and this is not, I'm not having a go at the lad. I think it's still early days. We jumped ahead far too quickly with this lad. I think he needs time, and I think, because I just haven't seen that many times where he picks the ball up and he's putting boss crosses in or he's having a shot. I've not seen him replicate anything that he did for the under-23s, which is a worry, because that's like the level, you want players who make that jump seamlessly. And I haven't seen that. So I'd probably keep him on the bench as well.
Okay.
And go, but it depends on who we've got available in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
See, on Saturday, I'd be like a little bit, not cautious mightn't be the word, but I'd be like, right, we've got three, let's get three in the midfield, 2 wide players and a centre forward, and let's just knock on the door and keep knocking on the door and keep knocking on the door. Don't have anything ridiculous defensively. Get me in the back, have Tom, and people might go, that's negative. But be negative to be positive. Don't be wide open and then next minute, Dave just got a breakaway and we get caught and then we can't get
Gotta
back.
watch Ismail Sarr having me on the break.
Let's be solid and build off that base.
Let's score off a corner.
And then we can get Richarlison on, and then we can get Iwobi on, and maybe Gordon on, or Dobbin on, whatever. But I think it'd be like the Norwich game. Just knock on the Norwich game. We didn't have Richarlison. We didn't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Okay, we did have the Corey, and he scored. But let's go up there and say, we're going to knock on the door. We're not going to give you anything. And we're just, something hopefully should fall. Yeah. And if it doesn't fall in the first 70 minutes, then you get Richarlison on and go,
create one
they'll be terrified, because not only he scored against them in the past, he used to play for them and all that kind of thing. And yeah.
Right, last few, thanks for getting the likes up. They are, because someone put the Reds who've given the stream a thumbs down have a higher percentage of interaction. That's not good because it drags it down, but thanks anyway for the ones who've hit the like button. It makes a difference. Someone liking the likes going up to being as slow as Rondon. Fair play. RT Allen says, like it or not, we have a small average squad. Once you look past the starting 11, we are in the middle of a massive injury crisis, but we've just signed a new fitness coach. So to me, that's a positive. Blue Nose Dublin says most Premier League teams would miss their best 4 or 5 players. Tactics and no silly goals and set pieces will help. Definitely. Kieran says, lads have joined in late as Baz suggests they're playing hold 8 in midfield yet.
I definitely have.
And definitely
on the match preview as well.
Just because he can move We had this last season.
Play him up front.
Absolutely. Last season, we were just all over the gaff. Well done on the overlap, mate. Cheers. And Keith says the situation has been helped with our inability to spend this season and our stupid signings in the last few seasons. Be positive and hope the spirit Rafa has instilled in the team is evident. And Stuart says when you've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench, it's hard to take off Iwobi and Rondon. That is, isn't it? That's where we are, but hopefully as we're getting... See, I personally, although he couldn't have done it last week, to be fair, but rather than have 2 goalies, I'd have Onyango in there and going like, you're...
Well, I think he will do this week.
Well, I don't know, because it's his first week back.
But even though it's an incentive, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're incentivising it for the... You know, El Sims was on the bench against QPR and the game before
Actually,
that.
Yeah, he'd only
he wasn't going to play.
Yeah,
but it was just that thing of like, this is the carrot.
Yeah.
This is the carrot. You're going to become a first team player. Know what that means? That in saying you have to start stepping it up. And that's what you're saying to Dobbin. That's what you're saying to Onyango. You're saying to players. Because don't forget as well, I think, again, we don't fully understand this thing of like, imagine you were like 18, 19, right? You train with the 23s, and every day you're seeing these players that you look up to, and then someone goes, yeah, like you're going to start coming to matches. For the first couple of matches, it's going to be weird, isn't it? All the little things are going to be weird.
Yeah.
Who you're rooming with, what it's like, your initiation, all that kind of thing, getting used to the protocols, going to bed at a certain time, whatever it is, it's all going to be a little bit weird. If you can be as comfortable in your surroundings as you can, and then someone says to you, right, you're starting tomorrow, or you know, you're on the bench and there's a chance you're going to get on, then surely if everything else is fine, then you're gonna be a little bit more relaxed. And it's the carrot, isn't it? It's the incentive.
No, I'd want it, because you'd be thinking, they're recognising what I'm doing here. Right now, what's the first
thing,
next
isn't
thing?
it?
Yeah.
It's the first thing. It's that thing of like, oh my God, I'm going to be on the bench, which means these must think I'm good enough. And then the next thing is, I'm going to show you how good I am. And in training the next week, it's like, oh my God, he's amazing. It's all... No, we all heard the story about Wayne Rooney when he went to play for England. It was like, he went from being just in the squad because he'd done all right for Everton to be like, he has to start for England because he lobbed the goalie from 30 yards and everyone just stood back and clapped, and suddenly he just went, no, I'm going to be England's number 9. I'm going to be England's best player. And he did. And I think there is that thing of like, if you want to play for the first team, let's see how much you want to play for the first team. And I think that all that helps.
Right. Basic trig, last one. I would drop Mason in at 6 and push Allen and Davies up a little bit and put Iwobi back on the bench. Interesting. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. We massively appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And if you want more daily videos like this, we do lives every day, plus loads of exclusive shows. Why not become a patron?
Also, check out the Ultimate Fan app, download it. It's amazing. The link's in the description. It's a good game. Get involved in it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have a little bit of a laugh with that every week.
We do.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you patrons tomorrow. Otherwise, see you next week. Take it easy. Bye.